Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Justin. Today, as you can tell from the lovely thumbnail, we're talking about AI in music. Let's get started. So for today's video, we're going to be using the AI platform called Suno, and it's a really cool platform that you can use basic prompts and nothing too fancy and create full songs. Now, I only have the free version, not the full version, so I can't get the fancy versions of each song, but I've actually managed to make some pretty cool songs so far. Now, my initial prompt that I typed into it, I foolishly, in the lyrics column, I put the prompt, a song about the benefits of washing your hands before you eat, as you can see here from this title. And I didn't realize that was the lyric, so I asked them to make it classical for me, and it produced this product.
A song about the benefits of washing your hands before you eat, but sang as a classical benefit of peace, a song about the benefit.
And it just keeps going on and on and on like that. So I put that in the lyrics. I meant for it to be more in the style of it. And that's where this thing gets fun, because over here in the lyrics, on the next one, as you can see, once it changes here, I asked it to make it as a nursery rhyme and for it to fill up the lyrics itself. So not only make more lyrics, but also make them rhyme. And that's how we came up with this lovely one.
Before you dine, a ritual to greet. Wash your hands clean, a hygienic feet. Beneath the water, dirt takes its leave. In health's gentle embrace, we believe. Lather and rinse, a simple delight, a melody of bubbles in the soft.
And well, it's a full song. It made multiple verses, I believe 2 verses and a chorus, and kind of catchy, to be honest. And I love the fact that each line rhymed as I requested it to. But me being the instrumentalist that I am, I decided to push it a bit further, and I asked it to, here in the styles section, I asked it to make it and play it with a fast violin. And this is how we got this lovely piece.
Before you dine, a ritual to greet. Wash your hands, clean a hygienic feet. Beneath the water, dirt takes its leave. In health's gentle embrace, we believe. Lather and rinse, a simple delight, a melody of bubbles in the soft light guiding.
I absolutely love how it kept the same lyrics, but just changed the feel of the song by using the fast violin. I absolutely love that. That's one of my favorite features of this. But of course, I had to push it a bit further, and as you can see, from up here, I asked it to make it sound like a ballad. And I also changed the lyrics a little bit, made it more romantic, and asked the style of it to be more like a ballad. So let's just give this one last listen.
Lather, rinse, a tender caress, a melody of bubbles, a love soft address, guarding your heart with each gentle sweep, washing.
So from this, it's funny how well the AI actually listens to what we're saying and proceeds to make it like a ballad or fast violin and such. I think that's actually really cool. And I think that if because I asked it to make the lyrics more romantic, which it clearly did, from a nursery rhyme to talking about love's caress and love's address, I think that's a significant shift in the tone and the emotion of the song. And I think that that's just a it I think it does follow the theme that you're trying to promote with the song. Like when you actually give a good detailed prompt, I think it actually does very well in making the song sound like that, both in style and in lyrical sense. I think it does that very well. Now, if I were to think about how AI works in the creative process, like music production, I think that I think that it's both good and bad. I think it's good because me personally, I listen to some AI created music, just a couple fun songs here and there that to me it's funny and it's good catchy song, but at the same time I can appreciate artists, human artists that actually create things themselves. But I do think that AI opens the door for certain people who may not who have musical talent, but they just haven't had the opportunities that others may have had to either go to school or have certain doors open for them so they can showcase their skills. I think AI will help bridge that gap, and we might get a lot more indie creators out there, a lot more quote unquote SoundCloud rappers out there that actually have more refined sound with these AI. Because Suno specifically, you can upload your own audio and Suno can clean it up and add different components to it that can help refine your sound. And I think having access to those resources will help the music industry overall and help the creative process. But I think it also, it leaves open a wide gap for some people that will just let the AI generate everything, the lyrics, the style, all the above. And it could lead to the industry being flooded with a lot of pure AI music versus AI enhanced music. So I think that's some of the benefits and challenges that this type of technology produces. Now, if I'm looking at it ethically, I think that I actually don't think that it reduces opportunities for human composers. I do think that there may be some music corporations, whether it's large production companies or what have you, that may try to utilize AI for them to corner a certain section of the market. But at the end, I think that the realness of human generated music, I don't think that that'll ever go away, because using examples like Mozart, Beethoven, Bach, and so on, and Tchaikovsky and many other, those are obviously classical composers, but I think even non-classical composers, there's just a certain art to it, there's a certain human feel to it that at least at the moment I don't think AI can replicate. While these lyrics are certainly more romantic, I don't it could just be because I'm using it as AI and I know it's AI that I don't feel that same emotion that I would feel from a human generated song. But I do think while the AI is good and it's great and it might really produce certain things, I don't think that it'll necessarily reduce opportunities for human composers, because I think that a lot of independent people, like I mentioned in the previous point, will use the AI platform to help expand their sound and help grow their platform. But I think it is for sure a slippery slope. But I think that I don't think that it's going to necessarily reduce opportunities. Now, when it comes to intellectual property rights or the authenticity of things, I think that, things can get a little bit blurry there. Certain ethical guidelines that I would put into play. I think that because the AIs are trained on large amounts of data, wherever that data comes from, whether it's public or whether it's private data that was purchased by, in this case, Suno. I think that when it's fully created by AI, it should be disclosed as such, and that Suno would have some sort of, Suno would have some sort of right to it. But I also think the person who created it can have some right to it. But while it is creative that they would make a whole song with Suno, but I think that if it's the Suno platform that generated the whole thing, then I think it should mostly belong to Suno personally. And but if it was detailed prompt engineering, I think at that point, then certain exceptions can be made, saying based off the prompt engineering, they just used the platform but they created the song. So I think that's different. But I think when it comes to ethical guidelines, I think there should be like a solid, probably 60 or 70%. If it's 70%, human made, like they type the lyrics and such, and just 30% AI, I think, the IP should go to that individual that made it. But if it's the other way around, or if it's just less than that, then I think the IP can stay with the representative AI company, in this case, Suno. Um, and yeah, when it comes to authenticity of the art, I think it should just simply be disclosed, on the music page of that, that piece of music, that it should be disclosed. This is AI generated, or this was created by AI, or this, this was made with AI. I think it should just simply be disclosed. And, that's my opinion on the matter. Thank you so much, and I hope you all have a great day.